Hey everyone, I am back with another casual round at the newly redesigned Brookview Disc Golf Course. Sit back and enjoy as I tackle this course for the first time. So beginning on hole 1, you have a big decision off the tee pad. You can either go real big and try to attack that basket on the other side of the OB pond. I just go with the nice simple layup on my first shot with a forehand, get to the middle of the fairway, giving myself a nice open look for another forehand approach. Unfortunately, I didn't gauge the distance very well and I leave myself a really long putt for my par. Yeah, not a good effort to start the day, and I start with a bogey. On to hole 2. There are a lot of trees right off the tee pad on both the left and right side, so I can't necessarily go with a big hyzer around them. I opt to go up the middle, which is the way the hole is designed, but I don't get enough flex and leave it off to the right. I get stuck behind this big pine tree, but luckily for me, I get a real nice upshot, giving myself a good look at the par. On to hole 3 with yet another risk reward. It's slightly uphill, but if you're a big arm, you can really attack the basket that's way up past this OB green by those two big trees. I opt to throw a nose up stall driver shot, making sure I'm going to come up short of that OB green, and then just toss a simple approach shot up and over it, putting myself close to the basket to get my 3. Now for hole 4. You do throw kind of over a valley. It's really downhill to start and then very uphill towards the end. I go for mid-range, trying to flex it down the middle of the fairway. I don't get any, and I just kind of let it slide off to the right-hand side. I'm now throwing straight back up the hill with a putter approach, which I don't throw another good shot. Luckily for me, though, it's still close enough to get the par. So hole 5 gives you a big decision right off the tee pad. You can either go right through that gap, over the pond, and attack the basket, or like me, I just lay up, giving myself a good look at an up and down for the par. I wasn't quite feeling it today, as you can tell from the first few holes here, so trying to keep it as clean and simple as can be. Now for hole 6, you do again have an OB ball golf green right in front of you. It does play uphill, basket tucked within those pine trees. I thought I hung this out far enough to the left. I didn't. I came up short, but luckily for me, I also came up short of the pine trees, still giving me a nice angle to get to the basket so that way I can get the easy tap in par. Now, for hole 7, if you're a right-hand player, that tree just to the right-hand side, just throw a nice shot off to the right and let the disc flare towards the basket. For myself, I take my Maverick and just hyzer flip it straight, try to get as close as I can, and finally get my first 2. Hole 8 is just like hole number 7, just a little bit longer. Throw a nice simple hyzer down towards the basket, and if you have the distance, you set yourself up with a good 2. I throw my driver nose up and unfortunately have a long look, which I cannot convert. Hole 9 now takes you over a pond. As a lefty, I do have to carry the water the whole entire way, but at least my disc fades away from the water as long as I throw it far enough. I put a nice ace run on this, thought I had it, but I did come up probably about 10-15 feet short of the basket. Hole 10 is yet another very birdieable and must-get hole on this course. It is right there, just at the top of the hill. Take a putter or mid-range, just let it crash right into the hillside or into the fence directly behind the basket, and hopefully you're walking away with your 2. Hole 11 is the most beautiful hole on this course, but unfortunately it also is the worst tee pad on the course, as you can see from my nice lip. I do toss out a fairway driver on a nice flex, let it kind of bank back in towards the basket, and give myself a nice bonus 2. Hole 12, the only real danger is this tree right off the tee pad. Just go to the left or right of it, and you only have to carry about 200 feet of water. I unfortunately get a little too much air up underneath this disc, and it doesn't get enough glide to get to the basket, so I end up unfortunately getting the 3. So moving on to hole 13, which is actually the only par 4 on the course. I wonder if it has to do with the OB pond on the left-hand side. I take my Lucid X Maverick, pump it right up the middle of the fairway, which gives me a great open look to the basket. Unfortunately for me, I do leave my forehand a little high in the air, and I do clip some of the branches, giving myself a really long putt for a 3, and which ends up being just an easy tap in 4. Hole 14 is another nice short hole, but it does play really uphill as it gets towards the basket. I actually opt for the fairway driver on a big stall. Unfortunately, I left it a little too far out wide to the left, but I didn't have that tricky of a putt. So at first, I thought the distance was way wrong on hole 15, so I went with a fairway driver on a big flex. Luckily for me, I do catch the trees right next to the basket, or I would have been way past, and it actually kicked me right next to the basket for the lucky 2. So now on to hole 16. You do have this wall of trees right in front of you, and the hole does play slightly uphill the whole way. I take my Maverick, try to hyzer flip it through everything. It doesn't work out, and then I have this awkwardly placed grill right in the way of my forehand line, so I had to play it way short of what I wanted. Luckily, my putting was feeling so much better this time of the round that I still walk away with the 3. On to hole 17, the last great birdie chance of the round. I opt for the forehand play, keeping it low and just kind of crashing it in right next to the basket and just walking away with a real nice easy 2. Final hole of the round, hole 18. Only danger on this, you've got that OB pond directly off the tee pad, and then you also do have an OB ball golf green down the fairway. I go again like I had with the early holes, a nice stall driver shot to land just in front of that ball golf green, and then I take a nice simple putter approach, putting it over the green and tapping in for my par to end the round. So it did take me a while to get any traction this round, but once I could attack the shorter holes, definitely scored a heck of a lot better. I did like that with the about 30-degree weather, my putting was as decent as it was. It may not have looked pretty, but at least it was going in. As for the course itself, I do like the new redesign. They really expanded the course. It was just a lot of short holes before. Now you get a lot more of these bomber holes, but what I like is that they place those OB greens in great spots, so it is that high risk reward. You can either lay up and take the easy 3, or you can bomb it and try to get that bonus 2 that not many other people are going to be able to get. For beginners, it is a nice course because of that mix. It has a lot of short holes that they can attack, as well as long holes to help practice on like drives and practice their approach shots. There's not a whole lot of danger. There's a few pond shots, but overall, I think that this is an intermediate level course and is great for players of all skill levels. So pro, amateur, beginner, definitely come out. This is a fantastic course to play. I enjoyed my time and I'm looking forward to playing this course over and over this winter.